tournament.
And honestly, I think a contender for this tournament.
Yeah,
certainly a top 8 contender, maybe Grand Finals contender.
Yeah, he's been around a long time too. You know, I remember seeing him in pools at many of my early excursions into this region, and it's nice to see someone who's been so dedicated to the game really coming into their own and gaining the respect of both new and old players.
Also a pretty solid teams player. I need to shout out teams as much as possible. I'm afraid it's dying. Please play teams. All right, Falco Sheik.
We are alike in that way, my friend. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite matchups to play from both the Falco and Sheik side when I'm playing those characters. I think it's super fun, really interactive.
Do we know Infernal at all? Because he's schmoovin' a little bit.
He is schmoovin' a little bit. Here's the thing. I'm really bad with player names and regions.
Ah, okay. Well, he's not from North Carolina, I can tell you that much. But he is nicely, might I add, moving on bones here. Ooh, a little too saucy for his own good. Too much mustard on that dog.
And when you were the underdog, you don't want to throw away the stock when you have the lead. It just feels so bad. I love the laser to delay down. Oh, with slow downer.
Yeah, I remember a couple years ago, I was playing Wizzy in pools, and I went up 2 stocks on him for a moment, and I felt like the best player in the world, and then I immediately got 0 to death, and then I SD'd on my next stock, and I was like, oh no, I'm terrible. So, you know, it's hard when you come up on a player like this that everybody expects you to get washed by, and then this starts happening after your first stock where you were looking so good. Whoa!
I mean, even the recovery was good. This is such a practiced Falco. That much is obvious.
When was the last time you saw both hits of Sheik's forward smash hit like that?
5 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is kind of that scenario we're talking about. Infernal making some really big plays and still down a stock. And you know what it is? Consistency.
Yeah.
JuiceBox has not messed up in such an extreme way.
He's been here before. You know, how many times has he been in a situation where he was down on a stock to some Falco and needed to make it up? I mean, when you're talking about a guy with this much experience, it's hard to put him in a situation he has not seen before.
And then he does that. He is what I would call a strong tech chaser.
Yeah, 100%. And with Sheik, you really have to be. That's kind of what separates the Sheiks from the Zeldas. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. Okay, I like actually the up tilt to cover the space on top. It made Infernal tentative about coming down from on top, and then JuiceBox maneuvers out of the way, just really playing with the head of Infernal.
And that was like a 60% combo / tech chase setup, but he fails to get the follow-up, but that's almost all he needs right there with that up smash. I mean, thankfully, Infernal was on point with the DI.
Okay, yeah, and so I think that the story of the match from JuiceBox so far is JuiceBox is really shutting down the most common areas Falco likes to go in each scenario, and then immediately covering the opposite as Infernal tries to make his way in. This probably is the last stock, yeah. So what I think we need to see Infernal stutter step and then go in the way that he wants to, or put a little more delay on things, or take alternative approaches because JuiceBox is not budging.
Shoutouts to this guy behind Infernal with the 1996 sweater around the waist maneuver. That's something you're only going to see at a Melee tournament these days.
That is true. I haven't seen any controller necklaces. I might have to bring that trend back. I missed the controller necklace.
Well, now controllers cost $600. You don't really want to just walk around with one on your neck. It's like walking around with a diamond chain, you know?
my controller does not cost $600.
Me either, but like I need to buy a new controller, and that just does not mean the same thing it used to.
Yeah, true. Yeah, no, you're right.
And once again, Infernal kind of holding his own on this first stock. This guy that neither me or Snacks have not heard of, looking good against Bones with an early percentage lead, but we saw how that worked out for him last time. Hopefully this time he can be a little bit more precise and maintain it. But
the downer just barely doesn't connect. JuiceBox trying to even this.
Dude, his turnaround game on Sheik's obviously very important. If you're going to play Sheik at this level, you really need to have a good turnaround game. That was a smooth turnaround.
Yeah. And I mean, that is one way to describe JuiceBox. The movement and space control is so clean and precise.
More like smooth box.
Smooth box, yep. Make me laugh there. I don't know what it is.
Here comes the tech chase. Let's see how much he can get.
I like the forward throw.
This is amazing. The needles, the bears.
Yeah, and if you are below the edge, especially a spacey against Sheik, it's curtains for you. It's
yeah, once your jump's gone, you lose that ability to really mix up what you're going to do. It's no mystery what you're going to do when you're Falco and you're out there upping, and it takes so long.
Something I notice is, so Infernal is trying to get some crouch cancel punishes against Sheik, something that Sheik is very susceptible to. And only after seeing that did I recognize JuiceBox is very carefully playing outside of crouch cancel range at those low percents.
Yeah.
We see the needles early on to try to like get him out, and then he gets the grab, gets him to at least 40 or 50.
He's also really getting a handle on his rolling patterns now, you know? As the set has gone on, he's gone really comfortable with how he's going to roll.
And this is also a full set player. And what? Okay, that could probably be it.
Should have just faired.
I think fair, yeah. And what I mean by a full set player is you take certain risks when you're up a lot to put in the other player's head they can't do something.
Right, like
one,
that.
Yeah, one example, JuiceBox doing the up air in front of Falco to coerce him not to feel comfortable approaching, like when it doesn't matter especially. Needles don't hit, just have to roll up.
JuiceBox makes it look easy after an early struggle in the first stocks against Infernal, but I'm really interested to see what Infernal looks like against people who are not favored to win the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, Infernal might still, I think likely will still make it out of the pool.
Yeah, hopefully we see some more of him because I really liked what I saw on that especially in that first game. To come out swinging like that against a guy like JuiceBox shows you that that young man has no fear.
Yeah, I mean, keep the consistency up and you will be just fine, that is for sure. Yeah, we're starting with the fist bump at the beginning. Vanish. Kind of cool hook.
And that's what that was the beginning of the downward spiral.
It set the tone because Infernal looked so strong, but just wasn't consistent. And that is like the bane of Spaceys, right? If you're not consistent against someone like JuiceBox, it will just, even if they were playing even the whole time, which in some moments it looked like it.
Well, it's because a moment of inconsistency on Sheik, unless it comes at a low percent, isn't really too impactful. Like you were saying with Fox, there are certain characters that he can just die against, and one moment of inconsistency against Sheik, even at like 20%, is a big deal on Falco, you know? I mean, we saw that lead to, in some situations, a 60 or 70% tech chase / combo from JuiceBox, and especially against a player like him, you've got to just assume he's not going to mess up when you're approaching it as Falco.
I thought that up smash was going to hit too.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I mean, honestly, you know, JuiceBox had some creative uses of both dash attack and up smash here that didn't really connect, and I'm interested to see if maybe that was something that was working for him online that isn't really translating to the in-person event.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, sometimes it's just the feeling of things gets you making different decisions, and then you're just all out of whack. Well,
I don't know. You remember how, you know, Wizzy and Puppy used to be about, you know, every CRT being a little bit different. You know, obviously, net play is going to be a little bit different than playing on CRT, not to mention every CRT is a little bit different.
And you're playing on your one same monitor
the
entirety for 2 years, yeah.
So, a lot of variables, guys. A lot of X factors in the in-person events, and we're just so interested to see how they're shaking out here at SmashCon. And, yeah, man, this is, I mean, it feels really weird to be back, but I hope that soon we have some teams again. While we got a little bit of downtime, we can talk about some teams if you want.
I was asking for teams yesterday. You know what's unbelievable? DizKid Boogie comes in. I'm asking about teams. He asks for a singles money match if anyone wants to play. DizKid Boogie used to not enter teams singles and only enter teams.
I'm just going to cover this up.
Right? I'm thinking he was doing that, right?
Yeah. You shamed teams.
No, I mean, he didn't come in. I don't think he heard me. It was like he was outside. And I said, like, hey, there's no teams on a Friday? And then he comes in and is like, anyone want to play a money match? That's it for me.
That's one of the reasons why I miss having G Money at these events, because he would just scream teams at the top of his lungs, and you knew it was time for teams.
I became that person eventually. And if you want to learn teams or any other game mode or other game, the place to go is Metafy.gg. Using the code FALL15, you can get 15% off your Metafy lessons. It helps out the players who you like so much. You get to meet them, and you get to grow as a player. So highly encourage you to check out Metafy.gg.
And big shout out to Game Mill too for developing Metafy and for helping provide the $10,000 pop bonus for this event. Big ups.
Yeah, I was on GameMill. Whatever their website is, I think it's .com. Prior to this weekend, just to check it out and see what it's about. There's some good content there too, so maybe just check out GameMill.com.